Tyler, would you please create one YouTube video on how equity structure splits between LP and GP on each multifamily apartment deals? Since you have closed so many deals till now, would you please use one of your deals as an example? All right, hey, today's video comes directly from one of my comments on one of my past YouTube videos from Vraj Patel. So Vraj, thank you, man. He said, "You were great, my man, and your content is always so helpful to me. Just keep making more content and God bless you. Thank you so much in advance." Vraj, I'm excited to record this video, and to everyone else out there, continue, man, to keep the comments coming. Here's what's cool about me. I don't have hundreds of millions of people that subscribe like you do, which means when you leave me a comment, I actually read it and I actually put it into work, and those are my best videos. So let's dive into today how to actually structure this deal between LPs, limited partners, and GPs, general partners, on these apartment deals. Let's go. All right, as a reminder, my name is Tyler Devereaux, CEO of the Multifamily Capital Partners and the Multifamily Mindset. The Multifamily Capital Partners is our investment company where we own 3,500 something apartment units, 400+ million in assets, and we have an education company called the Multifamily Mindset to teach people how to do the exact same thing. So whether you're looking to passively invest into a real estate deal or you're looking to do the same things that I do, this channel will certainly help. I'm excited to walk you through the process. Anytime that you're about to structure, you're gonna purchase an apartment deal, then you're gonna structure how it works, okay? There are really 6 key components. Not that we're gonna get into all 6 right now, but 6 key components on how that you need to really take into account to structure this deal to make it work. Number 1 is how you set up your entity. Number 2 is the waterfall components. Number 3 is the return of capital. Number 4 is the control and the voting rights. Number 5 are the different investing partners that you can use to structure your deal. And then number 6 are the fees that sponsors take to structure the deal. Today, I'm gonna focus primarily on step 1 and 2, which is the entity structures, the splits behind, and how the payouts work. Okay, so as you go into your splits on who gets what, it's important for you to know the different roles on the deal. So you're gonna have a couple different roles on the deal. You're gonna have what are called LPs, that stands for limited partners. You're also gonna have what are called GPs, which stands for general partners. Now, limited partners, these are the individuals who bring the money into the deal. The individual investors that invest money into the deal. For example, if we need to raise $4 million, you may raise that $4 million from 30 different investors who all invest different amounts to make up that $4 million. The GPs, general partners, on that deal, also known as managing partners of the deal. Well, that is who manages the deal. That's who puts everything together, determines the structure, carries out the day-to-day operations, sources the deal from the brokers, does the due diligence, raises the money from investors, once again, operates or helps with the operations throughout the hold period, helps make sure that we exit the property. That's your general partner. There's a lot that goes into that side of things. Those are your 2 basic sides. You have different ways that you can structure the entities on these purchases, okay? The most common ways. Number 1 is what's called a REIT, a real estate investment trust. Number 2 is a LLC, a limited liability company. Number 3 is an LP, limited partnership. And then number 4 is what we call a syndication. Now, syndication is our preferred entity structure. All a syndication means is that multiple investors, like I just explained, come together to purchase the apartment deal. It's essentially 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2, 1 + 1 equals 3 or 4, meaning the individuals coming together to do something that they couldn't do on their own. Passive investors, it'd be very challenging for them to individually buy an apartment. General partners, the GPs, it'd be very challenging for them to buy apartments without the investor money needed to do so. So those are your basic ways, and our preferred method is what's called a syndication. So the limited partners in a deal, you can raise this money from a bunch of different people. It could be a family office, private equity, big corporations, man, big corporations who have millions of dollars that they need to place. Most of the time though, we raise the money from individual investors. Well, just like you, maybe you have $50,000, $100,000 that you want to invest into a real estate deal. Maybe you have some money you want to invest, but you don't necessarily want to be a landlord, or you don't know how to identify a good property, or you don't want to do, take care of there's obviously a lot that goes in with managing a big apartment deal. What you can do is you can invest that money, $50,000, $100,000 plus with individuals like myself who would be considered a GP, a general partner on a deal. And what we do is we take care of all the legwork. We know how to find good deals in good areas. We have the relationships to do that. We know how to operate the deal and how to exit the deal. So it allows you to own apartments without having to deal with the hassle of an apartment. So who are these individuals that invest? Accredited investors, sophisticated investors who have some money that they want to invest with people like me or maybe even like you. LPs are massively important on the deal. I'll tell you that your passive investors, that relationship is a sacred relationship. They bring in the remaining 20 to 30% needed to purchase the apartment building. The other 80, 70% comes from the loan. The remaining 20 to 30%, that's the equity invested in the deal from these limited partners. And they're massively important because I will tell you that it doesn't matter how much money I have. If I'm trying to scale with my own money, I'm very limited with how much real estate I can acquire. Same thing with my passive investors. But collectively together, we can scale exponentially, and that's powerful. So they're so important to have on a deal because they are critical to making the deal work. Just like GPs are so critical to making the deal work, LPs are also critical to making the deal work. All right, so a general partner in a deal, also known as the sponsor of the deal, you'll hear it called, are the individuals who think of it as the sweat equity into the deal. They're the ones who have the relationships with the brokers to source the deal. They're the ones that handle the due diligence. They guarantee the loans. They use their network, their liquidity, their experience to actually guarantee the loan. So cool thing with that is your passive investors, a passive investor can benefit from all these are high quality loans that a regular average everyday person would not be able to go and get. Well, a sponsor, your GP, has the relationships, the industry knowledge, the network, the liquidity to get those. Your passive investors benefit from that loan without any of the risk of the loan. They're limited partners, which means their risk is also limited. Their risk is really the money that they invest in the deal. Now, general partner, once again, they source the deal. They do the due diligence on the deal. They vet the deal first off to make sure that it's even a good deal. Due diligence is part of that process. They raise the money from investors. They guarantee the loan. They do all the things necessary to get it to close, which, by the way, we have a 297-point checklist that gets you from the time you have it under contract to get it to close. So to say that there's a lot of steps that go into becoming a general partner and getting a deal to the closing table is an understatement. There's a lot that needs to happen to get it to the closing table. But then once it closes, man, there's no checklist that you can create of the steps that you need to take. You need to make sure that you're taking care and staying on top of your property management company, communicating with your investors, implementing and carrying out the business plan to make sure that you can maximize your exit so that you can protect investor capital and grow investor capital. The different roles on the general partner side. All those things that I just mentioned could be different people who carry those different roles. Maybe somebody sources the deal. Maybe somebody else is the sponsor on that deal. Maybe somebody else is the one who raises and takes care of the capital from investors and takes care of the investors. Maybe somebody else is the person who is the asset manager who really manages the property manager. Those are your four most important roles as far as the general partner side goes. Okay, so now why are the general partners so important? Well, number one, because it takes a lot to become a general partner. Think about all the steps that I just mentioned of what needs to happen. Most of your passive investors, these are individuals who make great money. They shouldn't stop what they're doing to try to be a general partner. Now, some people will want to be a general partner. That's awesome. Most passive investors, though, man, they make good money. They should continue to make good money where they're at and passively invest. A general partner is so important because they literally make the deal possible. They find it, they source it, they vet it, they run it to make sure that these passive investors have an opportunity and a place to invest their money so that their money is working hard for them so that they don't always have to work hard for your money. To be a general partner, that's not passive income. Passive income comes from passively investing. General partner, this is very much active income, an active role on this deal to make sure that you're making income, but your investors are also making money on their money. To really get to the nitty-gritty of what the split looks like. Part of the question that Vraj asked was, how does the equity split work? Now, what I'll tell you is that there are infinite number of ways to structure your deal. So I'm gonna tell you how we structure our deals, how the majority of our students also structure their deals. See, remember, we structure through what's called a syndication. Our typical structure, limited partners own the majority of the deals. 70% of the deal is what they'll own, 70%. General partners would typically own the remaining 30% of the deal, which means the profits, who gets 70% of the profits? The LPs. Who gets 30%? The GPs. As long as we hit the preferred return. All that means is who's getting paid first in the waterfall. Remember, I told you one of the components is a waterfall component. I want you to picture a waterfall. Money flows from one bucket to the next. And the first pool, first people that get paid should be your limited partners. They should be first in line in the waterfall. That's called a preferred return. Most of our deals, we offer a 6 to 8% preferred return. For example, let's say that we have $100,000 in cash flow profit that we now need to distribute out. In this split that I told you, general partners 30%, limited partners 70%, that 100,000, 70% would go to the LPs, 30% would go to the GPs, as long as that 70,000 equates to at least whatever the preferred return is. Let's say that it's an 8% preferred return. If 70,000 does not equate to an 8% return, then the LPs would continue to carve out more and more of the cash flow until they get to at least their 8%, which means if it took them the entire 100,000 to get to their 8%, awesome. LPs would make 8%. Cash flow, GPs would make nothing. The reason that's awesome, man, is because as an LP, you want to make sure that your GPs are motivated to make sure that you get your returns and really exceed the returns that they set so that they can also get paid. See, they get paid once you've been paid. So you want to make sure that if you're going to be investing passively into a deal, you want to make sure that the GPs are motivated to actually make sure that you make money so that they can also make money. So your typical split, 70-30 split with a kicker of an 8% preferred return, which means once again, investors get paid first. Now the same thing applies when you exit a deal. On our deals, once again, there's an infinite number of ways that you can structure a deal, which is probably why you have the question, because you see so many people structure a deal in so many different ways. A lot of that has to do with who your investor is. If you're bringing in a private equity firm who's bringing the entire amount in, so the entire amount from one investor, you're probably not going to do a 70-30 split. You're probably going to do something more of like a 90-10 split or an 80-20 split, where we bring in the money from multiple investors. We have to manage multiple investors. It's more work, which is why we do a 70-30 split. Now, the same thing for us applies when we exit. When we go to exit a deal, it's going to be, let's say we have 10 million to distribute profit to investors. The investors would get 70% of that. We would get the additional 30% of that. Now, let's say that we have not hit the preferred return throughout the hold period. We also have a catch-up provision, which means part of this profit on exit would go to catch up the investors to make sure that their preferred return is hit. Once their preferred return is hit, then the split will hit from the remaining portion. So once again, there's a number of different hurdles that you can create throughout the process as you structure your deal. But once again, as a refresher, a basic way on how we do it: 70-30 split. 70% of the cash flow and equity goes to investors, 30% goes to the general partners, as long as the 8% preferred return has been met. That's how we structure the deal. A key to your structure is to make sure that it really is a win-win. The reason that's so important is because if you structure your deal in a way that the LPs, the limited partners, your investors, if it's not favorable to them, they are not going to invest in your deal. On the flip side, limited partners, you want to make sure that it's also favorable to your GPs, your general partners, because if it's not favorable to them, they have no incentive to perform, which means, yeah, your carve out may be bigger, but your profits will probably be smaller. Why? Well, because the general partner is not motivated to do anything because they don't benefit from anything. Now, there's very few general partners who would ever structure a deal that way, but I'm telling you, it is important for it to be a win-win. If not, the general partners won't perform or the limited partners won't invest. It literally has to be a syndicated effort, a syndication, to make sure that it's a fit on both sides. That's actually how you reduce risk and increase profitability on all fronts. All right, so another question that I'll get is, what side of the deal, Tyler, what side of the deal do you play on? Are you a limited partner investing money, or are you a general partner that's structuring the deal and doing everything there? And the answer is both, man. I invest in every single deal that we do as a general partner. I believe that it is critical for our money to be invested alongside investor money to make sure that our interests are equally aligned. That's very, very important, man, because I never, ever, ever do I want to make decisions on a deal and justify making decisions on a deal that will put investor money at harm. The easiest way for me to make sure that I don't make bad decisions as a general partner is to make sure that my money is invested as a limited partner alongside my other investing partners. Now, the reason that's important, I'm on both sides, but I also invest passively in other people's deals. So if you have questions, additional questions, I would love to help you with them. That's my favorite type of content to create, are the questions that you have, because I know that it's hitting a specific need or fulfilling a specific need that you have. So whether you're a passive investor looking to invest passively or an active investor looking to get on the GP side, what questions do you have, and how can I help you with those questions? Well, the only thing that you know is to leave the questions in the comments, and I will make sure that I answer those questions for you. If you pulled some value from this video, which of course you pulled some value, make sure that you subscribe, you like, you comment, maybe with another question, and also make sure to share, man. I want to make an impact on as many people that I can possibly make an impact on. And the only way that I can do that is if you share. So man, like and subscribe and comment certainly, but also share so other people can take in the knowledge that I so eagerly want to share, y'all. And then as always, and as per usual, live always with aloha. Peace.